we're going to take a little bit of a tangent and talk about generating random numbers. So you might be wondering why we're going to bring this topic up now. Well, we're going to start creating games that rely on generating random numbers. So like games of chance, like blackjack or poker, or a dice game in a casino called craps, and they all deal with you need some sort of randomness involved, like rolling a dice or shuffled cards or whatever. So this will help just make things a little bit more interesting. It is not the necessarily natural progression of this course. We will go deep into all these Python modules later on, but for now we'll learn about a single module, and that's the random module, and that's how we can generate these random numbers. So I've said this word module now, so this is not to be confused with module from our course, like module 1, module 2. This is something completely different. So Python has these modules, and this is how you get more features that are not directly built into Python. So whenever you start a Jupyter notebook, you have a certain set of commands that you can use. You can create integers and floats and strings. You've learned about conditional statements and constructors and now loops. So a module is just, you can think of it as like a book in your library, that you just read, and you have all of this knowledge once you have picked out this book and you have read it. So with Python, instead of reading the book, what you do is you import a module into your Python program, and then you can use all of these other features in that module to complete tasks. So when you start off with Python, um, you don't have that many features. There's some built-in features, and like we talked about, like the if statements, the for loops, the basic types. These are built into Python itself, but there are a lot of things that are not built into Python that you can actually bring into your program with by importing in a module. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to import in modules like this, and this is a statement called the import statement. It's pretty simple. You just say import space and then the module name. You just replace module name with the actual name over here. Now Python comes equipped with 100 plus modules in something called the standard library. So whenever you install Python, it has this library of modules that you cannot use in your program right away. You have to import them, but they are there. So I think, yeah, a good analogy is just to think of a normal library, a real world library with books. Each book has, a different, features for your program that you can do to complete any sorts of tasks. Okay, so we're going to go much deeper into modules later on in this course, but for now we're just going to learn about the random module. So this is part of Python's standard library. It's one of those 100 plus modules. The way we're going to use it is just say import random. I've provided a link over here to the documentation and directly to one of the functions we're going to use, which is randint. Let me zoom in a little bit. I can actually go back to the top. So you can see this is the random module, and it has all of these objects inside of it that you can use, right? Each one of these is, say, like an extra feature that comes by importing this random module. And you access all of these objects or functions with dot notation. So you're going to import random, and then you say random dot, and then the name of the function or object that you are going to use. So you can see here, we're going to use the randint one over here, and this is just for this particular little example. This creates random integers between a and b. So you supply it with, some number like 1 to 6 that will roll a dice, and it will generate a random number. Okay, so let's go see how this works. And so we're going to use this import statement. And now we're going to import this module. It's like a book. So you have access to everything in that book. And the book is over here, and explains every object, every function in that book. And so, um, just like normal, you can press dot. That's how you access the objects in that module. And then here are all the things you can use, right? This is all of the features. And for us, we're going to use rand int. If I press shift tab tab, and I guess I have to execute this first. Yeah, sometimes you have to just execute it so the Jupyter Notebook knows it's there. And then the documentation will show up. So press shift tab tab, and you can see I have to provide it with A and B, and it will generate a number between A and B. It includes the endpoint, so it could be 1, it could be 6. It will generate 1 at random. So I'm going to go ahead and execute that, and I got a 6. I'm going to keep executing this. This time I got a 5, 3, and so forth. Okay, so that's all you do. There are many other, features in here. We're not going to look at them right now. We might use some of them later on, but for now we're just interested in this rand int function. So you can change this. You can say, all right, I want a random number between 100 and 500, and you can just keep executing it, and each time you'll get a new random integer. Okay, so that is a little bit on modules in Python, which are just more. So I didn't really say this. A module just has more Python code. So it's just a Python file with Python code. So technically, we've created Python modules, in the last section of the course, and now we're just using modules that Python has given us in this standard library, in particular this random module, which is brought into our program with this import statement.